What a good girl.
All right. We are back again. I'm just gonna restart that whole thing because yeah. So
Hold
you may notice that we look a little different, although I did do my makeup the same. But I'm wearing a different shirt. And she's wearing a different shirt.
I am.
Um, because we recorded on Sunday, and because we were being so fucking thorough, because we loved that book so much,
We did.
we got tired. We're just little babies, and we needed to go to sleep. So, we decided to record the movie portion of our episode at a later date. And today is that date. It is Tuesday, and so now we're here to talk to you about Get Out.
Yes. So we're just reiterating. So we chose a Pride book, and then we chose a Black film, 2 Black films, and 2 queer books. Just so we can cover Juneteenth and Pride, because we are both queer and we are both Black.
Fucking gay and black, man.
So, Get Out.
Wait, have you seen that trend on TikTok where it starts out and it sounds like lovely day, but it's really like that nigga gay, nigga gay, nigga gay, nigga gay.
Occupied.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know anybody that's going to be watching this that hasn't seen Get Out, but we're still going to treat it as if there's some people on here that haven't. So we'll go through the plot summary,
which
go through the
yeah,
norm.
if that's you, go watch the movie and then come back.
Go watch that movie. Where you been? Where you been, Loca?
Yeah,
Where the fuck have you
where
been?
the hell have you been, Loca?
Honestly. All right. So our movie triggers for this movie. Obviously, there's violence, bloody images, and language including sexual references. Um, there is violence and gore. There's like brain surgery, visible brain and scalp, stabbing with an antler, suicide by rifle, car crash with injuries. A deer gets hit by a car, so there is a deer
And you
death.
get to hear it scream, which is so special.
Yeah. Violent attacks with stomping, stabbing, choking, and off-screen stabbing, gunshot wounds. There's some kissing, implied sex, mentions of sexual slavery. I think that's pretty much it as far as that goes.
Also, racism, racism, racism.
Yeah.
And if you understand the reference that I just made with that little song,
Mm-hmm.
tell me, because then we need to be friends.
Put it in the comments. So, Get Out is by Jordan Peele, who also does Nope and Us. It's obviously explores the theme of racism, racial anxiety, the exploitation of Black bodies. It's not seen as supernatural, but it's more of a chilling manifestation of systematic racism and white supremacy a little bit in there. Um, so when you're
I
talking,
would definitely give this a sci-fi tag, at least.
yeah, I would say sci-fi would be correct because it's not supernatural because of the theme
Right.
to deal with scientific. So yeah, I would say sci-fi
Yeah.
enough. The racism for um, you know, it's insidious. It's a very insidious form of racism at the beginning. Um, they're masking kind of a lot of their predatory intentions with like performative wokeness and superficial displays of racial curiosity, that kind of thing. So, we'll get into it. But, so let's just kind of go into the summary analysis of the scenes and we'll kind of touch on a little bit of everything. So the movie starts out with Andre, who's a young black man. He's walking alone at night and he gets kidnapped. You do meet him later in the film. Then we kind of pan over, which the beginning, the opening for the movie is definitely like, it does set the tone for the movie very well.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing it in theaters and just being like, oh, okay, so we're starting strong. They really just kicked the door in with that scene.
It lets you know that some shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
So then we switch over to our main character, Chris, and his girlfriend Rose. They're discussing going over to her parents' house. And I don't know, as a black person, even a half black person, anytime I've ever dated somebody white, I'm not meeting their parents unless they know I'm black first.
Yeah, I automatically when he was like, "Do your parents know I'm black?" And she was like, "Well, no, but it's fine." Immediately no. Immediately no. I'm not going because that's whether or not like it's gonna be a thing, even if it's a minor thing. Oh, I didn't know you were black. That's weird to say. I don't
want to tell that one.
I just yeah.
And on top of that, it's just like the fact that you didn't take time, even have the knowledge that that's the thing you should be doing regardless.
Yeah.
Should have been a red flag to begin with.
Yes.
And it sounds bad, but I mean, it's truth. As a black person dating somebody who is not black, you're going to have to continually educate your partner, regardless of how many black people they've dated, regardless of how they could have dated 50 black girls. I don't care. You're still going to have to educate them on something different every time. We're not the same people,
Especially
y'all.
because we're not a monolith. Right.
We're not the same. There's not the same type of black people. It's just meeting Jamaican parents versus Afro-Puerto parents are two different cultural things that you have to act different. So, like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's the same culturally. Like, you're going to have to be educated no matter what every single time on something. Because, like you said, we're not a monolith. We're not all the same people.
And that's not even taking into account, what if the person that you dated before wasn't doing any educating? Now I have to get you to unlearn some shit that person was okay with that I'm not okay with.
Exactly, because we're also not, again, we're not all the same people. We're not all accepting of the same boundaries.
Right. Like, I know plenty of black people. I wouldn't say plenty, but I don't, because I don't know these people anymore, but I knew a lot of people who would be perfectly fine with non-black people saying the N-word. And if you were in a relationship with somebody, in fact, I was friends, well, I wouldn't really say we're friends, but we have the same circles. She kept saying nigga in her car, and this is a white girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you stop saying that? It's making me uncomfortable. Well, my girlfriend is black. I don't care. I just told you that shit is making me uncomfortable. Stop saying it. Say it around your girlfriend. Don't say that shit around me.
Exactly. That is, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so that was kind of our first little red flag.
Yeah.
But we kind of learn, and I think especially with horror movies, we kind of learn that psychos tend to prey on people who don't have families.
Yes.
Or have
Ooh.
problems with their families.
What a nice callback to the last movie we did.
That's what
because he absolutely was, yeah.
It's a thing, and multiple things. And Chris never mentions his father, but we kind of know he's not, doesn't exist, or is not in the picture. But his mother basically passed away, coming home one night from work, and we learned that later, which we'll go into. So obviously he doesn't have family. So, and again, it's another theme of where having a black best friend saves the day.
Swear to God.
Every time. So Chris and Rose leave in Rose's car, and she's driving, and they're discussing Rose's family a little bit more, and then Rod, speaking of the black best friend, he's a TSA agent. he calls and they have a conversation on the phone, and you kind of get the idea of like Rod's really playful and he's flirtatious towards Rose, but it's nothing that's like real or anything.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing like that. But kind of get the character, and he's talking about how like they're getting on to him for searching an old lady in TSA because the next terrorist attack's going to be geriatric, which he and I believe it.
Huh.
But so um it gets cut short because Rose hits a deer, which I don't know if that was purposeful.
Yeah, I remember feeling like,
She's not looking and it's just an accident,
yeah,
but I don't know. But the whole scene sets up to where she hits the deer and she calls the cops. And that's another weird thing for me that I kind of was like, did she do that on purpose? Because,
yeah,
hear me out, her family lives in the country. She's familiar with the area.
yeah,
You're familiar with deer. Like, people who live in these areas know to call wild conservationists. You don't call the cops when you hit a deer unless you're doing it for insurance purposes, but you can call a wildlife agent first,
yeah,
which is weird. You call the cops after everything's done, when you call wildlife and then them. But anyways, they asked for her ID and then Chris's, even though he wasn't driving, and um, Rose basically sticks up for him and is just like he wasn't driving, and basically is like staring him down like bitch,
yeah.
which
And
create.
I feel like that sort of speaks to your theory that maybe that was orchestrated so that she had the opportunity to be like,
Look what I
I
can.
stand up for my man.
Which that's what she says, and when she gets in the car too, she's like, "I stick up for my man." That's what she
I
says.
didn't remember that.
I did. She gets in the car because he's like, "That's hot." Because he's like, "That's hot." Which
Yeah, I remember that when I was watching the other day, I was like, it's hot that she has basic human decency. Like,
I guess
Chris, baby, the bar is in hell.
I don't even think it's that
Like,
character because he's so like Chris is so conservative as far
yeah,
as his words. He
yeah,
means takes caution with everything he says.
yeah,
His dialect through the whole entire film is very selective, and I think when he's talking to her, he's feels special because obviously he's not as affectionate and he's not as open and talkative as she is.
yeah.
He just kind of says he reminds me of Hiroki from My Hero Academia or the character he reminds me of.
Mm,
Yeah, he's that kind of
I
character.
see what you mean. I see
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah. So I don't. I
Yeah,
have those heroes because
love Todoroki.
he's trying to belong in the moment.
Yeah,
Um, which that was the only like that's the one thing I did notice with the movie that I was just like I kind of attested to his character because I didn't. I was like it didn't seem like they had a lot of chemistry as partners.
yeah. I don't know why they were together. Like, I don't know. I would not have stayed in that relationship.
The chemistry wasn't there for me, but at the same time, I think, like I said, it has a lot to do with his character. Like I said, when you look at it through that lens of like that's just the type of person he is, and he's not
Yeah,
as outward. And then because of what he's been through, and like you said, when you learn later about how his mom died and what his reaction was afterwards, you can kind of tell he's a very solitude inside thinker.
yeah,
So I think it's just one of those cases that like he might just be that way in general. He just may
yeah.
not
Maybe
affectionate person because even when he's talking to Rod, who is like one of his best friends, he's still not like
he's still very like reserved.
he's not very outwardly chemistry with Rod. Rod
Yeah,
a lot of the chemistry in their friendship.
yeah,
So I think that's just his character in general.
yeah. You might be right.
But it makes it weird for them to when it comes to bringing them both on screen as a relationship.
Yeah,
Um, but at the same time, it makes it perfect at the same time because it's like because he is a lot more inward thinking and he's a lot more reserved, and he's not as like, I don't know, I don't want to say complacent, but he's not as like outwardly emotional and bringing everything into everything. It's actually
Yeah.
a lot in this movie.
Yeah, it does. He's not reactive.
He's not as reactive, and on top of that, like
Yeah.
he doesn't have that emotional, that big a depth emotional connection to her, to where like he was conflicted about leaving.
That's true. Yeah, because as soon as he realized that that shit was off, he was like, "No, I'm fucking leaving.
But
Y'all are fucking crazy."
he wanted to bring her with him, but
At first, because he didn't realize she was in on it.
so I could tell that he really did care about her. But when he started seeing the photos and he clicked, he's just like, it wasn't it was like, that's what I'm saying, paying attention to detail. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
emotional. He wasn't emotional about
Yeah.
fighting. He's just more like, what the fuck? Get out, get out, get out. So I think that the trauma helped him in that situation, and having that type of personality really helped him.
Yeah.
But we're jumping. So Chris and them get there and meet Rose's dad, who is off-brand Stanley Tucci. Am I wrong?
No.
Stanley Tucci just wasn't available, or he was just not going to do another role like this after The Lovely Bones. One of the two, I think. That's my theory.
I mean, yeah. Oof. The
It's
Lovely Bones is such a doozy of a fucking movie, man.
a good movie, but he says it multiple times. He hated playing that role. Like, it hurt him emotionally and
And
mentally.
that makes, like, I hate that for him, but also I love that because, like, eh, it shows the type of person that he is.
Yeah, there was an interview where he was talking about him and Sorsha, and how she would check on him throughout the series, the filming too, and stuff would happen. Like, he's like, she's so mature, like she would check on me and make sure I was okay in my mental
Yeah.
too, because there was time. That's just a hard subject. But anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the things she says was, because I was talking about the ride about her parents. She's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're not gonna have a problem. My dad practically wanted to vote Obama for the third time. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes. I hate it when people say that.
Yeah.
I hate that because also, like, especially, particularly, like, now, this country is racist as fuck. I don't, like, it doesn't matter if you would have voted for him 3 times. That doesn't mean shit because y'all were fucking racist to him when he was president. So,
That
that means absolutely nothing to me. It's very similar to, like, oh, well, I don't see color.
no, that doesn't mean
No, shut
it.
up.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, you basically, when they get there, the dad is making a bunch of Stanley Tucci left woke fake ally. A lot of
I'm mad you keep calling him Stanley Tucci.
off-brand Stanley Tucci.
It's Bradley Whitford, okay? I love him.
I do too. And then Rose's mom is a psychiatrist. Um, and Chris is like sitting in the living room or whatever, and he's talking to Dean and Missy. Um, and that's the weirdest scene. Is like when they talk about hitting the deer, and he's just like, "I wish people would hit more deer." I'm like,
Yeah. What does
I
that mean?
like that, but I'm like, oh my god, like it's a test. It was a great scene to show the embarrassment, secondhand embarrassment of Black people having to meet white parents.
Yeah.
Um,
Imagine how I feel.
yeah, this was
I
also
don't have to meet other people's white parents. I have my own.
if y'all didn't know, you're okay with saying it
Oh,
on.
yeah. Oh,
Yes,
no, it's fine. Yeah, I don't care.
yeah.
People know.
Lena No is adopted. I also was adopted, but I found my parent, like I got my mom's care later in life. So I grew up with white parents. I didn't meet my dad till later. Well, I knew my dad when I was growing up, but I didn't actually have a relationship later. But yes, we grew up with white families. Um, and this was the second red flag. this is probably like the 50th red flag, but this is like the second flag that's actually hanging and waving. Is like they're all of a sudden they're just basically like, hey, the get-togethers this weekend, and she goes, no, it's not. They're like, bitch, yes, it is. It's every weekend. Like this is the same time of year. I'm like, ever since her grandparents died, they carried on the tradition. I'm like, there's no way you forgot that.
Yeah, that's weird.
No way you forgot that if it's the same time every year. There's no way. This is a family tradition. And she notices the car is coming. So, like, it's not an event you forget. This is an event with a
Right.
group of people. That should have been his second red flag. That, like, that's weird that that a parental unit would allow a girl's boyfriend to come, meeting him for the first time around a bunch of strangers at a party like that.
Yeah.
For the first time.
That's weird.
That's
That's suspicious.
pretty much. So basically, um, Chris and Rose go to unpack in her room, and they're kind of distracted, like, talking about how weird that was. While the best bedroom is decorated with their childhood stuffed animals, we're told on the drive up that Rose and her parents only moved there in the past several years, when Rose presumably lived somewhere else, which is weird. That is very weird. So that's a lie she got caught in.
Right.
There. But basically, Dean goes and takes Chris on a tour of the house because he insists. We learn that Dean's dad was an Olympic sprinter, and he got beaten by Jesse Owens. So that's our little first clue. So they do the tour and they go outside, and basically Missy, in the most weirdest way fucking possible, is just like, and then we're like, you smoke?
They say what? Say again?
He smokes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, Missy can help stop, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I got it. And then that's when we meet Georgina, the black housekeeper. And
Man, she was creepy as fuck.
she was pretty, but odd behavior.
Creepy as fuck, yeah.
Should have picked up on this. Was another odd thing. It's just like you didn't also mention that like your parents, who are like certified like allies, are owning housekeepers that are black.
Yeah, I know I've already seen this movie, but I feel like you're telling it to me and I'm watching it for the first time because I'm like, oh, like, because when you hear it like on paper, you're like, none of this is good. None of this is good. Let me leave. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Well, Jordan Peele's dialogue and the way he writes the scenes, it places us in a place where it's like Rose is just like a typical girl that has like really weird fucking parents, because that's a normal fucking thing. It's a normal fucking thing to have like weird, like, especially when it comes
Yeah,
to racism and blind racism. Like, this is a normal experience. Unfortunately, it's a strange normal experience. Um,
yeah.
so then Jeremy comes because they decided dinner, and Jeremy comes, the weirdest motherfucker known to man. It's
That's
Rose.
her brother, right?
Yeah. And they're all talking and whatever, and then Jeremy gets aggressive towards Chris and tries to fucking wrestle him at the table, which is fucking weird. And Dean's like tells him to back off, and Jeremy just like acts like a bitch and takes the wine bottle and leaves. Um, and this is like through this entire movie, Rose sympathizes with Chris at every opportunity.
Yeah,
She tries at every opportunity, but it's so weird the way she does it. Um, you can kind of pick up the hints on there because they're talking about Jeremy, and Rose is like really angry towards Jeremy and just like, that was so fucking weird. He never acts like that with any of my boyfriends. Like, and again, this is also a very typical experience with white people.
right.
It's like, no, this if you've had these experiences, you choose to ignore them.
Right.
So, um, we fast forward, and Chris sneaks out in the middle of the night for a cigarette, and he gets
Bobby
scared by
me.
Walter, the groundskeeper, who's just like doing,
Yo, that part was so creepy.
yeah, he's doing the Terminator run, just like, and multiple times.
But and it's the way that when he gets like 5 feet away and he just fucking turns.
Mm-hmm.
Who has that type of control? Who?
An Olympic runner named an Olympic runner. So then,
Turn
on
it
top
on.
of that weird fucking experience, he sees Georgina on the window, and he's thinking Georgina's looking at him. So he's freaking out. She's weird. She's really just staring at herself, feeling her oats on her face, like checking her teeth in the reflection and shit. So Chris is like, "Fuck this! I'm going back in the house. This shit's bonkers. Only
Fucking weird.
fucking weird." Only to discover Missy's sitting her ass in her little chair, and she's like, "You need to stop smoking." And he's like, "I'm trying, bitch. Like, calm down." Like,
It's definitely not gonna happen in this motherfucking house.
that's my daughter. You're not gonna be smoking around my daughter, my daughter. Stop smoking, and I'm gonna teach you how. I'm not even gonna give you consent. So basically, we learn. She starts hypnotizing him, and she's trying to get him into a place, and she gets out of him about his mother dying. And we learn that he pretty much, after his mother died, he sat in front of the TV for hours. He didn't move. He didn't call the cops. He just sat there for hours because he just couldn't unfreeze himself from that situation. Which pretty much puts him in the hypnotic state. She takes him into what's called the sunken place for the first time. And
What was it exactly that happened to his mom?
I think she got in a car crash, is what I'm kind of simulating.
Okay.
Because she was away at work, and they never said, like, what she did for work or anything else like that. I think she was just on her way home from work and passed. So I'm assuming
Yeah,
car
I
wreck.
just googled it. It was a hit and run.
Yeah. Um, and so that's what gets him into the sunken place. And when I tell you, the first time I watched this movie, I literally could feel what it was like being, like, I was cold. I felt like I kind of felt, you're almost hypnotized in a way as he's getting hypnotized and drawn in.
Yeah.
Just that noise they make along with the sunken, the whoo,
Yeah.
when he gets into the sunken place. Um, and that man cries really good, by the way.
Daniel Kaluuya is a fantastic actor, and Jordan Peele is a fantastic director. I'm just thinking about the way that it really it's very immersive the way that it's, especially particularly in the sunken place part,
Uh,
like how you really feel
you feel yourself going down.
that. Yeah, it cause and the way that he falls, it makes you kind of go, no, like you gotta like shrink away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just phenomenal. But anyway, yeah.
So Chris wakes up and he's in the Rose's bed, and she's in the shower. Chris gets a text message from Rod with a picture of Chris's dog, which is hilarious because he
Oh
has like
yeah.
shit with the dog and talking about the dog's drunk. Then Chris plugs his phone into the charger. Later, we find out Georgina unplugs it, but Cameron. Oh, we forgot. I glossed over our details. Chris is a photographer. That's how he makes his money. He's a great photographer. He's talking to Walter outside, the groundsman, while he's chopping wood, and they have a really weird fucking conversation about Rose. Because Walter's like, she's one of kind, top of the line. So then,
Top of the line is crazy.
yeah. So then Chris is like, I'm going up to tell Rose. He's like, Rose, like, one, your gatekeeper, I think, is in love with you or something. It's so fucking cool. Your motherfucking mom hypnotized me, but he doesn't remember it, but he hates the idea of smoking now. And Rose is like, I can't believe she did that again. And that should have been, I'm leaving at that fucking moment.
Why would you
Because
bring me around these people, Rose?
at that point she says that. She goes, not again.
Yeah,
So this is all Chris's fault at this
Rose.
point. I had gotten to the point where her mom is hypnotizing folks without consent.
Yeah, I would have. You know what? I wouldn't even told her. I would have left her a note and I would have fucking left.
Well, at this point, he's still in love with her, and he doesn't think there's anything wrong, and he has no proof to be like she doesn't know what's going. She knows what's going on.
True.
But this is the whole conversation we had with what's his name, the bartender from Fresh. Bitch,
Yes.
I haven't been dating that long. We're not. I don't care. I'm going. We can meet your parents another day. We can do this another.
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be together and we'll learn to be together, we can meet your parents another time. This is not that dire for me to stay for this weekend.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I've told you this before. I am a thoroughbred Scorpio. You know this. I drive everywhere. I'm
And
not going
does.
out my car. I'm like,
Yeah.
baby, I'm driving my car. We're not driving your car to your parents' house. We're driving my car.
Absolutely not. I'm not. You are not leaving me stranded in a place that I don't know.
With parents that I don't
The
know, and
fuck?
parents in the country.
I need a contingency plan.
I'm getting my vehicle because you can stay with your parents
Yeah.
if something.
Right.
They can fly you or Uber you back wherever you need to go if you don't want to come with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't do shit if something happens.
Yeah.
That was
Absolutely not.
Chris gave her two, and Rod was trying to tell him, "Oh, this is like you shouldn't do this shit. Doesn't make no sense."
Don't go to these white people house.
Yeah. So Rose, of course, is like acting upset about it, but like, whatever. Cars come, so it's time for the party again. Oh, so then this party is the most like this. I would have left before this happened too. When the first person saying some weird shit to me, like these people were talking about being this racially insensitive, I would have left.
Yeah.
Like just the shit they were saying was just like it was just ridiculous, just ridiculous. So Andre, from the beginning, the guy who gets kidnapped, we see himself making a drink. And I love that actor that plays Andre, by the way, because he's in a bunch of.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Yes. Have you ever seen that scene where he's like, it's him and that other black guy, and they're telling each other basically, like, aggressively to have a good day? He's like, I hope you have the best day ever. I hope.
Yeah.
That's my favorite shit ever, like the aggressiveness. But yes, he's a really good actor. I love him. Due to his new experience, Chris doesn't recognize him because apparently he knows Andre, who's a friend of Rod's, and they're all kind of like connected. But Andre's new name is Logan, and he is with an older white woman, and he's dressed like fucking a dandy from the 60s.
He truly was with that fucking hat.
Yeah, I know. So Dean makes a really weird welcoming speech to Chris, and he's basically like points Chris specifically to everyone, and then talks about Templar and the Knights of Old and some bullshit, some weird. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And Chris starts wandering around because he's over it. He's like, I got my camera. I'm just gonna focus on this shit. So he runs into Jim, who is a blind gallery person who's an admirer of Chris's work. Which again, I still don't know how that's possible. I guess to get somebody to describe what it looks like, I don't fucking know. But whatever. He's a blind gallerer who likes Chris's work. Jeremy gets Chris to play Batman with Jeremy, his brother, plays Batman with Chris. And the crowd is like oogling him really fucking weird. This scene was cut from the film, by the way.
Oh, for real?
It's a deleted scene.
So
But
I probably haven't seen it.
yeah, I watched it and it was like, it was so fucking weird, dude. I know why they cut it. It's if you have a chance to watch it, watch it.
Yeah.
So Chris was like, after all that, is basically like, these people are making me feel fucking weird. I'm gonna go get my phone and talk to Rod. Well, Georgina unplugged the fucking phone. And Georgina comes in and it's just like, or no, that hasn't happened yet. He knows his phone's unplugged. Rose comes in and it's just like, he thinks Georgina does it, and he tells Rose, and she's acting upset and be like, how dare she touch your things? Like, that's weird. That's weird, right? That's so weird. Why is everyone acting so fucking weird? Even though I've known these people my entire life, why are they acting so weird? You should still stay. You should totally stay, even though my parents and nobody acts like this ever, but you should totally stay.
Yeah.
So Chris is like, I'll meet you later. And I just want to talk to Rod. and see how my goddamn dog's doing. Like, so Chris is talking to Rod, and like Rod, this is where Rod's like, white people are gonna make a bunch of slaves. Like, they're gonna make you a sex slave, bro. And and so Georgina comes in and apologizes for touching his things, and we have that moment where her personality starts to break a little bit. I forgot what specifically where she broke, because he was just like,
I
I'm
think
not.
he was asking her something.
He was basically like, I'm not gonna tattle or anything on you or anything like that. Like, yeah, it was that. Because then she like breaks for a minute and she goes, no, 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 no.
Yeah. Yeah.
They tricked me well here. But so she started cracking at that moment. For some reason, at that specific moment. But I remember him saying, I'm not gonna tattle on you, and that's when she like breaks a little bit, and then it goes over. That no, 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 no thing was.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
creepy.
noise. Like no, 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 no.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of when I was watching it the other day. I was like, is that what this is from? But
Uh,
that specific sound is something
odd.
entirely different and also very creepy.
I know the whole uh crazy Kate's sister put her
Yeah.
in the microwave. Oh, that's um
He did?
yeah.
That's so creepy.
um. So Chris walks back to the party instead of leaving, of course. And Dean's like coming up there and introducing to him a lot of people. Oh, and I forgot to mention the scene where when he first meets um the other guy, Andre.
Andre.
He goes to like fist pump him, and Andre's just like, and if you can't see because we're
Yeah.
on the channel, but on Spotify, he goes to fist bump him, and he just flaps his hand straight against his fist instead of like goes for a high five instead of put like fist back.
Weird.
It is very weird. But Dean makes him feel uncomfortable because Dean's like, meet this person, meet this person. Like, what are the and then this Asian guy comes up, which confused me even fucking worse. But whatever, I guess the Asian wanted in on it. Asian guy's like, what are the advantages and disadvantages of being a black person? And Dean's like, oh my god, that's a really good fucking question. Fucking.
No, it's not. Leave me alone.
So
What
Chris is
the fuck?
and Chris like, Andre can answer better than me. Like Logan, he says Logan can do better than me. And then Andre's just like, I love being black folk. Like, that's not what he says. That's how it looks.
No, but he does it in a way that's very reminiscent, I think, of like minstrel or whatever. It's just very
Yes,
creepy.
it is.
I do not
So then
like.
Chris tries to sneak huh?
I said I do not like.
I do not like. You're okay, there you go. So then Chris tries to like take a picture of this guy because he's acting fucking weird. And his cell
And I
phone
think
flash goes
also because
off.
he vaguely recognizes him, but he doesn't know why.
Yeah. Oh, you're right, because when he had the conversation with Rod, he's like, you look so familiar. Um,
Yeah,
originally to go take the picture of him so that he could get a picture for Rod.
send it to Rod.
Yep, and the camera light goes off, and it pretty much takes him out of whatever state he's in. And Andre starts freaking the fuck out and tells him to get out, get the fuck
Get
out
out!
of
Get
here.
out! Get out!
So then, um, instead of just like taking this bitch and letting these white people like get off of him, he lets them take Andre and get hypnotized by Missy, claiming he has a seizure.
Yeah,
And
which is
yeah,
not
and
a normal seizure reaction, so okay.
so then Rose again is kind of being like, that is strange, that's suspicious, like this is so weird. Like these people don't act like that every fucking year. That this. So they act embarrassed, and like Andre is basically like, I'm so embarrassed that like I had a seizure. Like, oh my god, like we need to leave. Like I'm gonna leave my I'm gonna come leave with my 80-year-old golden girl girlfriend. So he, like I said, he basically takes Rose for a walk, and while Rose is going for a walk, we learn kind of that Chris is being up for bidding. If you haven't seen this movie, obviously you don't know what's happening next, but we get the idea that he's being bid for something. So, because you see a picture of him, and then they're like doing a silent bid. So again, Rose drug him off the talks while they started doing this mess. Chris tells Rose, he's like, "This isn't a fucking seizure. I want to go the fuck home. This is crazy."
Yeah.
And Rose acts like, "You know what? You're right, baby. Let's go. This is so weird, but like, I'll make an excuse and we'll just go." So they walk back to the house and see like the guests are leaving, which is not weird at fucking all.
Right.
So Chris sends the picture to Rod, and Rod tells him, being like, "Hey, like this is like, no, I know this dude. Like blah blah blah. Veronica's dating. That's Veronica's man. Blah blah blah." Like, oh shit, I didn't recognize him in the clothes. Like I thought whatever, but then his phone dies again because he didn't have time to charge it. So yeah. So he's like, "Rose, we're getting the fuck out of here. We're getting the fuck out of here. Stop talking. We're getting the fuck out of here." She's like, "Baby, okay."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go get my bag, babe. Like, I don't know why my bag isn't in my room, but I'm gonna go get my bag and I'm gonna. That's what I didn't understand. Why the fuck isn't her bag in her room? Like, why does she go get her other? I guess her purse, maybe. I don't fucking know. But this is what I was talking about earlier. Chris stumbles upon a box of Rose with her friends, Rose picture of friends, and then she starts seeing a picture of Rose with Blackman, and then she sees a picture of the groundskeeper and Georgina, whatever the fuck. We don't actually learn her name. Or we see the picture of her acting like a girlfriend with these people, and they're all past pictures. He does not have a huge reaction. He puts that shit away and is like, "I gotta get the fuck out."
Right. Because I don't. Maybe I'm making this up, but didn't she say she's never dated a black guy before?
I don't know. I guess not, because that's the first time they acted like that. I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's because why would she make the statement of what am I dating a black man? If she dated a black man before, she would have been like, "I've dated black guys before." Some bullshit like.
Yeah.
So they come down. They come down the stairs and surrounded by the family. And Rose makes in the making excuse why I can't go. And he's like, "No, you can't go, but you're not gonna go." And then he's like, "Rose, give me the goddamn keys." And she goes, "You know I can't give you the keys, right, baby?" Oh, because they couldn't find the keys. She said she
Yeah.
so we went down the stairs, and then she proves she has the keys. She's like, "I can't let you go, baby."
Yeah. So, did we pass the part where she's in the room eating the cereal,
No,
or is that upcoming?
that's upcoming. Because that's
Okay.
the end. That's right before the end.
Okay. So I'll save my question about that for when you get to it.
Yeah. No.
God, I keep jumping.
So he gets hypnotized, and they take him upstairs. You get a view of like them cutting the scalp of the old guy because Rod tries to call Chris, but it goes straight to voicemail, and then he starts looking at a picture for Andre for the picture, and he realizes it's him. And then it swaps back over, and then Chris watching the TV, and it's basically showing the infomercial about what they're gonna do to him, basically, and it's showing that basically his consciousness is gonna go into the sunken place, and the guy who was blind turns out to be the buyer of Chris, and he's going to control the motor functions. So Chris will still have be in part of the sunken place and be in the body. His consciousness will still live in the body, but it'll be in the sunken place, and then basically the other guy controls the motor functions of the body into the brain. So Chris ends up falling asleep because he hears the tinking of the cup again. And then we can go back over to Rob, who gets all the police detectives. Of course, they don't believe him because he starts talking about sex slaves again, so they don't believe him. He's talking about the white people making sex slaves.
Right.
Yeah. So then Rod tries to call Rose, and Rose just is like, bitch, have you seen this man? And she's like, no, I haven't seen him. Oh my god. Like, in that voice, that what killed me. She's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, straight-eyed and everything. And then, she weirdly tries to flirt with Rod. She goes, I know you've been seeing me. He's like, bitch. Literally goes, bitch. So, yeah, that, they get deeper into the video, and you see him, like, clawing the chair. And then, Chris wakes up, basically, Jeremy, so they go through showing the operating team with Jim, and then Jeremy tries to untie Chris once he's supposedly knocked out, but it turns out he's not, because he, like, grabbed the cotton out of the chair and put it in his ears. So that way when...
Oh, so because the way she hypnotizes with the spoon and the tea, right?
She ting-tings the cup. So he
Yeah.
basically knocks Jeremy out. And then he goes into there, and Chris stabs Dean in the chest with antlers, because he goes in the surgery room, starts attacking to get out there, and he stabs him with your antlers. Chris comes upstairs. He enters Missy's office, and they go at it, and they go for the cup because the cup's in the middle of the table, and she stabs him in the hand with the letter opener, and then they like struggle some more, and then he finally kills her, and then he
And
goes.
doesn't he like turn, because the letter opener is in his hand, and
Mm-hmm.
he somehow turns it around and stabs her.
Mm-hmm.
My man.
So then he's trying to get out the front door, but he gets put in a chunk hole by Jeremy, the weirdo. Then they go at it pretty much, and Jeremy pretty much tries to bring his leg up for a fucking kick, and he gets stabbed with the letter opener. And then basically he pretty much kills Jeremy and kicks him like several fucking good times in the head. He double tap, triple tap, quadruple tap that bitch, and takes car keys. So this, then out of nowhere, Georgina walks in front of the car, and he hits Georgina. And so then we go to a quick flashback about like when he was 11 and he like something that may killed his mom. So that's why he starts getting sympathy and puts Georgina in the passenger seat, which was a big fucking mistake.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because I think at this point he still doesn't realize exactly what they're doing. Or, well, I guess he knows, but he doesn't know that they are
no, he knows the exact
part of
problem.
it.
He just doesn't.
No, I'm saying, but he doesn't know that she is not her. Or does he already know that?
He knows it's not her.
Okay.
And everything works when they do this process. The problem is he doesn't know that it's implied when you listen to the story that's Rose and his grandparents.
Right.
We just don't get that because the sprinting, the running is supposed to be like the Olympic where Dean's dad.
Right.
It was kind of implied, but he didn't put two and two together. That was Georgina's
Okay, yeah.
That was Rose's.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, this is what you're talking about. So after that, he puts Georgina in the car. The crash, it pans over to Rose listening in the bedroom with the headphones in, taking the cereal.
And so my question was, and it's already been answered, but I was like, how did she go from like trapping him and being like the big bad to just like chilling in her room with headphones eating fucking cereal? But I guess it's because she thought that he was knocked out downstairs, so she wasn't doing anything because she's not a part of that process.
No. Jeremy was in scrubs
But
too.
yeah,
He was helping out, and then the mom was just there on standby just to do any hypnotic stuff. Rose's only whole thing was to just bring them there and keep them there.
bring them the specimen, yeah. But Yeah, the first time I watched this movie, I didn't catch that she was doing the serial separate,
Mm-hmm.
and I just like she's already a psychopath, but that is like such a specific level of psychopathy. Is that a word? I think it is.
Let's
Psychopathy.
maybe.
Um, sounds like a word, and it sounds like a really smart word. So I'm smart. um, but like I, because and you know what? I already think that people who drink glasses of milk are psycho. So like you are a psychopath if you just sit and drink a glass of milk with your dinner. That is psychopathic behavior. I'm
I do
sorry.
I do
It just
it,
is.
but not enough to count as drinking all the time. I may do it like
No,
I usually only do it if it's like one of those things where it's only available and it's like that or water.
I
Like if,
would dehydrate.
I'm
I
talking about
mean,
like,
I also would die if somebody made me drink a cup of milk because I'm very allergic, but still.
but if I'm
Even
talking
when I wasn't.
yeah, but I'm talking about like if I was at like a resort, like a hotel or something, and they had nothing to drink but water or milk with your breakfast, I would have to drink the milk with it. I can't. I'm not a big water fan, so that's probably also why. Because
Oh no, I would drink water.
well, I'm not one of those people that can taste like the iron in the water and everything else like that. And if that kind of hotel where they only have water and milk, that water is gonna be disgusting. Um, but yeah, so
Rose was being a psycho and she was dipping her Fruit
yeah,
Loops into the milk.
um, and Georgina wakes up and attacks Chris because, of course, it's her grandmother. So she's like, "You bitch," and basically
Right.
he floors it and she attacks him and he crashes into a tree. Um, and it kills Georgina. And then Rose comes out because she hears them and tries to shoot him through the car.
Yeah.
He misses. Um, he starts crawling out the car because he's fucked up. From the car crash, and Walter comes. Who is like I said, that's the grandma. Um, so Walter catches Chris, holds him to the ground, and Rose approaches him with like the rifle or whatever. And Chris pulls out his cell phone and flashes his eyes. And I'm glad they put that detail in there that Rose wasn't downstairs when they did that the first time. So she had no idea what caused Andre.
Oh.
Yeah, she wasn't downstairs whenever that happened.
Okay.
So she didn't flash. And knowing that. But basically, Chris pulls the flash on him, and thank goodness for Roman. Or not Roman, Walter. Because Walter
Yeah.
catches on right away what's going on after he flashes back. His name's not Walter, but they never gave us his real name. But
Yeah.
he flashes his old consciousness flashes back real quick and realizes what happened. He asks for the gun. He's like, "I'll do it," and he immediately just goes, "Oh, it's a shotgun!" So he immediately goes,
Yeah.
shoots himself in the head. Which,
That was sad, but I absolutely understand why he did it.
well, yeah, because he's also
Because like half of your brain is not yours.
well, yeah, because you gotta think at this point, thinking as fast as you possibly can, which is probably what he done. He's been in his mind for several years, not just a year or two,
Hmm.
and for multiple years, which means he's seen this process happen to multiple men and women. He
Yeah.
what happens to these people. He also knows he has the original component in his brain, the person who came up with this idea.
Oh, true.
He
I didn't
knows,
even think about that.
yeah, he knows that this family is the only one that has this technology. So even if he survives and like his consciousness is always going to go back at some point.
Yeah, he only had like a matter of time before the other dude took over again.
Yeah. So because even without the hypnosis, it was going to happen again. And there was no, and at that point again too, he is realizing if Rose is coming after him and this man has escaped, he's already killed the people that could potentially fix him anyways.
Yeah.
So he's obviously already killed off the family. So even if you want to get hypnotized, you can't.
Yeah.
You would have to live with this consciousness of having another person inside you. So Rose isn't dead, technically. So her and Chris are starting to fight for the gun, and he literally goes to strangle the bitch to death. And then, like, he stops because he sees the cop car, which is a smart thing to do because,
I remember. Wait, say what you were gonna say. I didn't mean to cut
Oh,
you
no,
off.
you're
I will never forget the feeling that I had when that cop car pulled up, because at first you're like, oh fuck yeah, somebody's gonna save him, and then you're like, oh no, it's the fucking cops. And it looks like he just murdered all these white people.
right.
Like, I was like, oh fuck, this is how this movie is gonna end? He's gonna go to jail? Like, come on, bro. And I saw it like opening weekend, so I was in the theater, and everyone was like, oh fuck, like it was so great.
So, of course, Rose gets up and is like, help, he's trying to kill me. And then automatically,
Yeah,
it's right.
exactly.
Thank God. It's right.
TS motherfucking A. Okay.
And he basically runs over her, and they're just like, basically, that's what he said. And then he's just like, they sit there for a moment, and he's like, he does the most blackest thing possible. He's
I
like,
fucking told your ass.
I told you to get out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, how'd you know where to find me?
Mm-hmm.
TS motherfucking A.
TS motherfucking A. Oh,
End of
that
film.
was that was so great. It was so great. And
Yeah.
apparently, so I watched the kill count on this,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently the original ending was that Chris was gonna go to jail.
I'm glad they didn't.
And Jordan Peele decided to change it because he was like, it deserves a different type of ending.
Well, black
And
people
I'm really glad that he did that, because I'm like, bro, like, can we have something?
are so
Like, because can you imagine dealing through all of that, surviving all of that, and then going to jail for murdering these people? Like, they would have had the last laugh, even though they were dead.
pretty much. I agree.
Crazy.
I like that they um so um let's where's that? So here's some Easter eggs or discussion points that they kind of like put under Screen Rant that we can go over. So the first one, because it kind of goes from least important to like most important. The first one is
Okay.
theory of Jeremy's own ambitions. So, which is her brother. Hold on, I'm gonna move my face a minute. There it goes. Just slow it down. So obviously Jeremy's one of the most unsettling characters in the series. He's obviously creepy.
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Okay. While everybody else is trying to like not, you know, break cover, Jeremy's the only one that's like seems awfully hostile.
Right.
And like you
Like,
said,
he's not even trying to hide his racism.
so Jeremy's like drunkenly asking Chris about his fighting experience and trying to size him up. Dean does make a reference to the fact that Jeremy would be following his footsteps in the medicine that he's continuing, hinting at that he's going to continue the family business. Um, the way he obsesses about MMA, comments that Chris has the right body for it, suggests he kind of wants to take over and you wanted Chris's body too.
Hmm.
Yes. Kind of hints that like he might have thought about taking over his body instead. Or he's looking for a body of his
Yeah.
own, same thing, instead of doing medicine. We kind of already know Rose
That's
covered our
interesting.
tracks. We kind of discussed it this whole entire time. Let's see. However shocking it is, that there's a clue to notice when watching behaviors, blah, blah, blah. One of the moments is that she recontextualizes when Rose and Chris are questioned by the police. When Chris tries to get his ID, the fact that she wasn't driving, she puts a stop to that. This noble gesture was actually Rose covering her tracks, not wanting to see Chris's name ending up on a missing person list and making the connection.
Wow.
I didn't even think about that. That she
Yeah.
wouldn't want his name on any files or anything if he does come up missing, because they're going to be like, he was just with that white woman.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. I already said this part about the fact that Dean hints about Walter and them. I don't know why it's taking.
You know what?
Hmm.
So then maybe that whole thing with the cop in the beginning wasn't something that she orchestrated, because
Uh,
if she thought that they were going to take his ID, she probably wouldn't have done that.
that part. I mean, she obviously she covers up things really good, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh, this is a good one. I never caught this one. Um, so Jordan Peele has already established himself as a director who brilliantly uses music in his movies. Prime example is when I Got Five on It in Us and Sunglasses at Night.
Yeah.
So Get Out has had an unforgettable soundtrack that suited his tone perfectly. The unsettling music that plays the beginning and the end of the film, and an indecipherable to the English-speaking audience, is singing in Swahili. I can't pronounce the name of the song, but one of the lyrics contains a warning for Chris. It says, "Brother, listen to the ancestors, run."
Ooh.
That song was actually part of the movie. That's obviously we know the deer is a bad omen. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not.
I don't remember Sunglasses at Night being associated with Nope.
It plays in the Nope at the beginning.
Oh, I don't remember that. That
Mm-hmm.
movie was creepy as fuck. But,
I
huh?
love that movie.
I loved it, but the alien, like, well, if you haven't seen Nope,
I don't
I'm
think we're
about
gonna
to ruin
cover.
it for you. Yeah, I don't know what dark romance book we could pair with that movie, unless we just feel like covering that movie, we can cover it. But
Yeah.
um, the end of that, when they like full on show the alien,
Mm-hmm.
it's not scary anymore because it just looks like a giant balloon animal. Like
True.
it doesn't. But in I have a thing with horror movies, is particularly when there's like a monster. If
I
you
don't.
show the monster for too long for me, it takes me out of it because I'm very aware that it's fake.
I don't think that was meant to be a horror movie,
Like,
to be honest. I think that strictly was supposed to be a sci-fi movie. Mixing
oh, well, that's fair.
because with sci-fi movies, it does blend a lot with some of them do pair with westerns, so I kind of get the idea.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense. I mean, but there were also parts of it that were fucking scary, but they aren't. It's not the same type of horror that we're used to with him,
yeah, of
and
course,
so I think that's what it was. I mean, I still really loved that movie. It was great,
yeah,
but it was definitely different than the other two.
right. Um, the the Easter egg of Chris in the beginning telling her, I don't want to be chased off your lawn with a shotgun," is how the movie ends.
Crazy.
Yep. There's also a lot of Easter eggs towards like horror movies, like names of things, like
Hmm.
with this one, I knew this one. Their last name, Armitage or whatever, is the main.
Armitage. Yeah.
It's the main character in H.P. Lovecraft's story, The Dunwich Horror. I already knew that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never read H.P. Lovecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because when I was younger, I don't. I like sci-fi, but I have a hard time reading it because world building sometimes is very boring to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've never read H.P. Lovecraft, and then when I decided that I wanted to read H.P. Lovecraft, then I found out that that dude is hella racist. So I was like, you know what? I can skip it.
Right.
So, um, I think, well, that's not even Lovecraft. I know Lovecraft Country is a book that was based around it, H.P. Lovecraft, but it was made because H.P. Lovecraft is racist. So,
Right. You bitch. Anyways, so one of the eggs also with the deer scene was like knowing that like kind of a small hint of Rose being psychotic was the fact that she had no remorse or sympathy for the deer whatsoever
yeah,
when she
yeah,
hit.
that was weird.
That was very weird. Um, let's see. Let's see. We already know. Oh, I already talked about this with Georgina slip up the first time. The hypnosis they are under has been shown. Blah blah blah. Okay. Let's see. I remember somebody said something about The Shining, but I don't remember where it was at. Let me see. I don't know. Let's see if there's any more. This is I don't know why it just keeps on freezing every time I try to scroll. We already know about the
It's annoying.
Oh, if you didn't catch the whole idea about the approach to the hypnotism of the tea,
Hmm.
obviously the silver spoon kind of represents like wealth and privilege. The fact that she's stirring
Oh yeah, the silver spoon. Yeah,
using her
that makes
privilege
sense.
to get the upper hand. One of them brought up the cereal thing. It was Fruit Loops. I was right, by the way.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah, because she was keeping the colored separate from the white.
that's the whole point. Is that's the other Easter egg
Yeah,
is just the idea that you know segregation and that kind of stuff. But overall,
yeah,
we get the idea that this movie pays homage to a lot of past, um, a lot of old classics like Stepford Housewives with Rosemary's Baby, like Night of the Living Dead. Like it, you can tell he pays homage to a lot of the past of horror. Invasion of the
yeah,
Body Snatchers. But overall, this movie, even with its many symbolisms and Jordan Peele's first movie coming out, that's also why I wanted to do this. Um, he definitely did a really great job of hitting home on a lot of themes. You know, like we said, racism as horror, exploitation of black bodies,
yeah.
you know, the sunken place being a
You
metaphor for.
brought up Night of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never seen that.
Oh,
And I didn't realize that it was a part of black horror. Like I found that out very recently.
mm-hmm. Yes,
So we should definitely cover it at some point.
I agree. Hmm.
I
Um,
I was never really a fan of zombie stuff for a long time, so that's why I've never seen it.
well, that's the thing about zombies, that it does include a lot of black. Historically speaking, movies were movies that included a lot of black people in casting. Even The Thing, that was the first fucking black horror actor that fucking lived. Was in The Thing. I don't think those were
Okay.
zombies. That's I mean, that's chemical warfare monster. I think that's
The
Leonardo.
thing is, yeah,
The one where they're in Antarctica. But
Oh, I
You
saw
know,
the remake of that movie. I haven't seen the original.
yeah. There's just so much to framework this movie, but the whole point is to kind of expose like the insidious nature of racism in like a modern day contemporary society, and it kind of challenges to like confront our own biases with each part of the movie. And like we were talking about earlier, it's just like we have our own perspectives because we are black, and our perspective is going to be definitely different from somebody white watching this movie, and they're not going to get as much different
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So I mean, he definitely it questions a lot, and it's a really great movie, and it sets the tone. It's not the first black horror movie. It's not the first black horror movie with horror movie actors. It's just the first black horror movie of our generation now,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
didn't necessarily hit on stereotypes of black people that are usually in horror movies, and we're not just the sidekick, we're not just the, you know, best friend. It was an entire movie about black people and a horror that is very evident for and real for black people.
Yeah.
And
And I
um
mean, the idea that you don't, as racist people, you don't like black people as people, but you like our bodies. You like to gain from us. You will use everything that you can from us, but you'll never admit that you actually like us. So you'll take my body and use it because my body is stronger. We have superior DNA, but you're going to do everything in your power to keep me down because of that, because you feel threatened, because you feel inadequate compared to us.
and that's the whole point.
So in this case, what you're gonna do is make me a slave inside my own body, so that you can reap all of the benefits of being black and having a black body, but having your white privilege intact, like inside,
Yeah,
like just
and people,
insane.
and to further the argument, which I don't think there is any argument, but if to take it another step, it's like, even if it was just the case of, oh, we're just picking bigger and stronger people with better DNA, it's just like, even the idea, you had somebody that was chosen for their perspective and eye and talent, something that
Yeah,
has nothing to do with physicality or culture. It was
right,
literally that had eyeballs. He literally, the the artist literally could have, the blind person could have literally chose any artist.
right,
I get it was the only program that did black people, obviously, blah blah blah. But a black person wasn't necessary for hypnosis, and they could have done this easily with any other person. The
right.
whole point
But
is
he
the,
specifically chose black people.
yeah, and that's the
Because
whole.
even despite all of those things that we just said about like superior DNA and all of that stuff, for whatever reason, even knowing all of that, somehow black people are still less than you. So that's why you chose black people, because they're still less than you. You could have chose anybody. You could have just chose white people that were better than you. But because you don't want to do that to your people, you need to keep us down, you chose black people.
Well, it's not just that. It's also the idea of experiencing something you're never going to experience. It's that
Hmm.
we talked about with Fresh. You get so fucking rich, you
Yeah.
want to experience things that you never experienced.
Yeah.
Again, I never understand. I guess that maybe be a white thing. Like it must be a white thing because I don't understand getting so fucking rich. That's not where my mind would go at all. It's not white because we have Diddy,
No.
but it's not white because we have Diddy. Damn it, Diddy.
Oh.
Point. I can never imagine being rich of any race to the point where I get so bored where I would want to harm another human being or be another person.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I get rich, you can't tell me shit.
Like, if I get rich, I'm buying a house and I'm putting a movie theater in my house. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
I'm not eating someone's flesh. I'm not
I'm buying a fucking jet. I'm buying a boat. Like,
I think it's just
5 boats if I'm that rich. Like, I just don't. Where? How do you get to the point where like, well, I'm bored. I don't have anything else to do, so I might as well just eat people now.
well, I guess it's not even just that.
How?
It relates to this movie too and that movie. I think it gets to the point where it's like you hate yourself so much that you want something another experience.
That must be the thing. It must be about like self-hatred.
Because no
Although
selves
Sebastian Stan really didn't seem to hate himself in that movie. He seemed to really like himself.
no so with this in that movie, it explains his trauma because I can't remember the exact story, but it started really young because something that happened. I think his parents were in that lifestyle, and then
Oh, I have to go watch it again.
I think so. But it tells you in the beginning he started when he was really young because of something that happened to him. It all boils down to trauma, and you can kind of see in Fresh his even though he's joking, you can see his sadness and how he wants to be loved because he always ends up falling in love with one of the girls. He wants a connection and he doesn't have connection.
That's true.
So I think that's what it boils down to, especially with these people, and that's why they come to these gatherings and stuff like that because they want a connection with other people. And again, bringing up our culture, we have such a connection with our people and a community
Yeah.
that they don't. So I
Yeah.
think that's what it boils down to when it comes to these kind of horror movies where the rich people have enough money to do these kind of things. It's just such a self-hatred, and they get this money, and they get money through bad ways, and they hate themselves so much that like it doesn't matter at that point. If you hate yourself, you do a lot of stupid shit. So, alrighty. What made you feral about this movie?
That's what a poignant point to make. Um, it's not feral in the sexy way.
Oh, this is not the cereal.
It's feral in the no. It's not. This didn't make me feral in a sexy way. It made me feral in like a rabid animal, and I want to fight somebody way.
That's fair.
Um, the fucking girlfriend, like just in general, like everything that she did was just fucking weird,
What's
and
going
she like just also they picked that actress. Like this movie came out at such a good time because when that actress was like it was around the time that she was really popular because she was in that TV show Girls, and her
on?
character on that show was fucking insufferable, and I hated her already. Then going into it and knowing that she was such a horrible person, I was like, oh, there's no saving her. Um, but then also, the end, just that moment of relief and triumph when he realized, like, oh, that's my nigga. Like, I'm safe. That's my dude.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad
yeah,
they ending. To be honest, I think it would have been a whole nother. I think Jordan,
it would have been a really sad movie if the movie had ended that way.
and I understand why that's good because artistically speaking, that's how life is. But
Yeah.
this movie came out, we needed a win. We needed hope
Oh,
and
bitch, yeah.
we needed a win.
What year did it come out?
Um,
2017. Yeah.
we needed a win.
We were what I mean, we need another one.
We needed
Cuz
another one.
what we were a year into
Mm-hmm.
uh it came out in February of 2017. So that man had just been inaugurated for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We needed that movie.
I
So
needed
Jordan Peele, we need a new one. Come on. Give
soon.
the people something to live for.
Well, that's exactly why I chose this movie
Oh,
as well because I felt like it was going to be a good reminder of, especially with everything going on right now. It would be a good reminder. Good reminder. I told you this too. That's why I chose this movie. We needed a good reminder, and it's such a solid historical. It's now this movie is now a historical piece of Black media.
yeah.
I'm rating this 10. I'm just because I love this movie, but I'm not gonna rate it 10 out of 10. I'm rating this movie probably like 8.5.
Wait a minute. What made you feral?
Oh, um, pretty much the same thing. Definitely, I think definitely what made me feral in a ragey way was that whole party scene. That whole party scene just like is sick.
Yeah.
Gives me the ick. It hurt.
Sickening. Yeah.
It's sickening, and I hate it because I feel that, especially as someone who is mixed, and this is just a mixed experience. Of course, when you're black, you get that kind of thing, but it kind of gives the idea of mixed because it's like with white people, they when they know you're mixed, they're just like, you understand, right? Like from the white side, they're like, you understand.
Right. I hate that.
And they make you, they're like, they're comfortable with saying more things around you than they would someone who is completely black based on how you look and talk. And because obviously, you know me, obviously on the pod, I talk a little bit more different, but like I don't technically have this accent all the time, and this is not me coding or anything else like this. It's just my elaborate voice to talk to because I can hear me. I have a really southern accent or a really black accent. I go between two.
Yeah.
Selena and Raimi make fun of my country accent all the goddamn time. I go between accents because I was raised in the country, and I was like, and also I grew up in Tampa, and I grew up in a very small country. So I grew up in a Hispanic neighborhood with black people, and I grew up in a country area for most of my growing
And
up.
to be clear, I'm never making fun of your accent. It's just I'm
Those
never
things,
prepared when it comes out. So you'll say something real country, and I'm like, come
yeah,
again?
accent. It's the sayings that I say that gets people.
Yeah.
But so depending on like, and I don't code switch necessarily. I'm just a very emotional talker. If I'm talking about a certain thing,
Yeah.
like when I'm sleepy, when I'm tired, I sound more country just because it kind of just goes into. It's not necessarily falling back on anything. It's the fact that when you talk country, it's a lot more slower, and when you're tired, you talk more drawn out. And when I'm more excited, I end up going more towards the cultural side. So it's not me code switching. It's just a necessary of being the way I talk. And so
Yeah.
necessarily being around certain white people, depending on whatever, they think just because if I'm talking in a country accent, like they can say certain things to me or act a certain weird way or ask questions about my black side in a really weird manner that they wouldn't ask a fully black person. And that's what that experience feels like to me. That whole party experience feels like to me, that they feel so comfortable asking those
Yeah.
questions. So that's where I get that, like that.
I can relate to that sort of
You can.
because my family is white, so I'm not mixed, but my family is white. So um I have had people, actually my ex-roommate asked me, we were at a show and it was like the theme of the show was like pop pop icons. And
Mm-hmm.
so the playlist was like 2000s pop. And so I know all the songs. Like
Yeah.
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, like that kind of stuff.
We're also gay.
And so she was like, "Can I?"
We're also gay.
She was like, "Can I ask you something um that?" She's like, "It might sound kind of fucked up," and I was like, "Sure." Like, because you already set yourself up, so go ahead and ask.
At least you know
And
it's
she
fucked.
was like, "Do you like this type of music because you were raised by white people?" And my thing is, you also know this song, so what are you talking about?
Was she white?
Like,
Was
no,
the
it
person?
was my ex roommate.
Oh.
Huh?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that person's a little not sane anyway, so we can just. They're gonna. It is what it is. But yeah, no, I definitely get.
But yeah, I have a lot of experience with people just being comfortable asking you wild shit because of that.
True. True.
Because of your um closeness, your proximity to whiteness.
Right. Well,
They feel comfortable.
well, and see, with mixed people, it goes both ways too. Because
Yeah.
I had a coworker when I worked at this one place. Because that's the only time I feel like I culturally did not belong with, could get along with somebody. And we were not close whatsoever. Like, barely knew each other, but we were cubicle mates. Didn't talk to her, didn't want to talk to her. And she's like, "You're mixed, right?" Yeah. Like I'm saying, no conversation, barely in conversation with this person. Yeah, I'm mixed. Black and white? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have Puerto Rican people. She's like, "Oh, okay." But it's just was so culturally insensitive for her own people and for both our people on her side and the other side. But she was just like, do white people fight at funerals or weddings?
What?
I looked at her. I was like, I'm not gonna say her name. I'm gonna say her name was Josephine. I was like, Josephine. I was like, don't say that out loud again. I was like, we have a Jewish boss. The last thing we needed him to think is that we're all ghetto. Like, please don't say shit like that. No is the answer. No, I've never seen people do that. And she would just ask me weird ass questions like that and just perpetuate a lot of stereotypes that, like, were so fucking harmful. Stuff she would never
She
say
was
to.
black?
Yes, and stuff she would never say to another black person. Stuff she would never ask or
That's
say.
so weird.
I get it all the time because I'm mixed, and people just feel like because I'm both sides and that I'm personable, they can ask me questions and I won't get offended.
Right.
I don't. Either way, that's what made me Pharaoh. Because I highly related.
Yeah.
But yeah. What'd you rate it?
I'd say what you said, 8.5.
Yeah, I agree. Going back and watching it,
I mean,
10 and 10, but now I would probably say 8.5.
yeah. And not to say that there's anything wrong with it. I'm more so like,
Knowing his other
I have
movies.
to save my time.
Yeah, well, I have to
Yeah.
say
Well, if
movies.
I'm rating it out of his other movies, I'd probably say this is a 10.
Yeah.
Um, Although I do really, really love Us. I know a lot of people apparently don't like that movie, but I loved it.
Then I don't get it. That's fine. You don't have to.
But my thing is like, because I think when that movie came out, they were expecting it to be another movie where there was social commentary, and there is social commentary, but it's not what people are thinking. It's not about race.
Well, a little bit, but not as much.
It's about other things.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's not the point. It's not like a movie where there's a secret underlying meaning.
Yeah.
It's just a horror movie.
Yeah.
But
I
I love that movie, and I love Winston Duke.
Me too. Alrighty. Well, that wraps us up. So next week we're going to be doing.
This episode is hella long.
It is. I guarantee you we're going to get over 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm hoping not, but I'm going to be editing my ass off tomorrow. We'll
It's
see.
at least 2 hours, I know.
Oh, it's definitely 2 hours. We're already
Yeah.
out.
Right.
So next week we're doing Selena's pick. You can go ahead and tell them what we're doing.
We're gonna do God of Fury.
Oh,
So excited. I finished it today, actually.
mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna talk about Sinners.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Yep. We're hoping to get all this done by
And
the end.
then next month we're getting into my birthday shit. Yeah.
Yep. So we did decide we're gonna hit both Naveen's books next month. So super excited about that. We'll announce the movies next month too. But for sure we're hitting Naveen's books because again, there was no way we were not gonna cover Lights Out for Selena's birthday.
Oh, you mean Navessa?
Navessa, my bad. It is in, by the
Yeah.
way. late
You're
as it's
fine.
been, but we're gonna cover both books. We will be in a very different location together. We're not gonna announce it now. We're not announcing it after we film. We'll announce it when we film because we won't be.
Yes, because you don't need to stalk us.
They don't need to stalk us or know where we're at, or bother us while we're on vacation. That's what we will be doing. Is we are going on vacation, but we're getting both those books while we're on vacation. So I believe that's probably the only books we'll be doing that month. It depends. I have show schedules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to take the rest of our summer off and get these books out of the way. Because we need to enjoy our summer. It's hot girl summer, guys, and we've been working hard to put these stuff out. So we'll get to it. One thing I really want to try to do whenever we really start getting the technical shit out of the way, is we will eventually start doing lives.
Yeah.
Where the audience will be able to participate. But right now, obviously, as you can see from this one episode, testicle
We got
difficulties.
some technical testicle difficulties, okay?
I live in the country. That's not going to be
I feel like when we start making merch, that has to be one of our things, is testicle difficulties.
Yeah. I'm going to be moving next year, so hopefully the location will be a lot better, and I'll have like a whole studio to be able to work at, and it'll be a lot easier. But for right now, just enjoy what we have, and that's it. So we're logging off.
All right.
Bye.
Stay fair.
Yeah, wait a minute. Get it how you live it. 10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm a big step.